Once a month, I go back to high school. Not as a student. I'm lucky enough to be the rabbinic advisor for the Dos Pueblos High School Jewish Student Union. So once a month, I get to hang out with many of our Jewish teens at their high school. For the last 3 years that I've been doing this, their faculty advisor for the group has been Mr. Adam Shive, a Jewish teacher who also happens to be married to our friend and colleague Julia Hamilton, the Reverend of the Unitarian Universalist community. Walking into Mr. Shive's class, you can immediately feel this is a teacher who cares about his students. I watched him last month explain to our group with animated enthusiasm how an old grinding pestle is his favorite item in his classroom because you can really feel the history when you hold it. He is compassionate, knowledgeable, and amazingly funny. I wish I had taken classes with him when I was in high school. Thinking of how lucky our students are to have a teacher like Mr. Shive, it got me thinking about the teachers in my life, particularly my high school teachers. So I want to share with you a letter that I wrote and mailed just a couple of days ago. I wrote my 11th grade AP US History and AP English teacher, Richard Geib. And if I'm lucky, he's actually going to receive the letter today. Dear Mr. Geib, it's been almost 20 years since I last sat in your classroom, but I want you to understand the impact you had on me, and I'm sure many teens like me over the years. You were my teacher for 2 of the most important and difficult classes I took in all of high school, and no one could question your commitment to us as your students or your deep knowledge of our material. But that's not why I'm writing. I came to you halfway through the year asking your permission to miss both of your classes for a week while I traveled to Spain with the marching band. I was told I had to promise to make up any work I would miss for that week while I was gone. You took my form, immediately signed it, and said I would need to do no homework. You left me with the phrase, "Never let school get in the way of your education." I later learned that was Mark Twain who said that, but I like to still imagine it was you. Today I'm a rabbi of a Jewish community in Santa Barbara, California. Our Talmud suggests that there is nothing we will ever say in our lives that was not taught to us at some point, that even novel ideas were inspired by the lessons of our teachers. Every week, I teach children and hope to inspire in them a similar love and appreciation for education that you inspired in me. I hope this letter illustrates to you that the impact of your work goes far beyond the students that took your class. As my 2 young daughters grow older, I hope they will be taught by individuals as committed to education in all forms as you are. I sign my name. One of the unifying experiences of being human is our emotional connection to the teachers who impacted our lives in significant ways. Some of us entered our fields of study because we were inspired by our teacher on that subject. Some of us felt more nurtured and loved in the classroom than at home. Some of us were inspired to become teachers because of our teachers. And all of us are the people we are today because of the gentle guiding of dozens, if not hundreds, of individuals giving us their knowledge and time. Just the word teacher likely evokes faces in your mind that no matter how much we age, we still remember. Class projects, papers, and tests that we stayed up all night studying for just to make them happy. There was no better feeling as a kid than getting something back from a teacher with an extra "nice work" thrown in. We were on top of the world that day. Judaism has always cherished the special bond between a teacher and their students. The Talmud takes particular care to always cite who learned what teaching from whom, sometimes going as far back as 7 generations of teachers being named. Rav Huna learned it from Rabbi Yishmael, who learned it from Rabbi Shimon, who learned it from Rav, who learned it from Rabbi Akiva, and so on and so on. And if our Talmud doesn't know the origin of a teaching, we learn that from Moshe Rabbeinu, from Moses, our teacher. We are taught when to sit and when to stand before our teachers, where to place ourselves when we walk with them, how to greet them, and how to accept greetings from them. If a teacher must move somewhere, their students are obligated to follow them. If a teacher loses something, their students must find it, even at the expense of disrespecting their own parents. As the lesson of the Talmud says, our parents bring us into the world, but our teachers lead us to the world to come. Now, should we be surprised that a tome of Jewish wisdom written by teachers would be filled with such adoration for themselves? Probably not. But under the surface of self-aggrandizement is a deeper message, one that speaks directly to what it means to be Jewish. The Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory wrote, "I believe that Judaism made an extraordinarily wise decision when it made teachers its heroes and lifelong education its passion. We don't worship power or wealth. These things have their place, but not at the top of the hierarchy of values. Power forces us. Wealth induces us. But teachers develop us. They open us to the wisdom of the ages, helping us to see the world more clearly, think more deeply, argue more cogently, and decide more wisely." For centuries, the rite of passage into Judaism has been marked by a display of wisdom, not a feat of strength or endurance. Our Bar Mitzvah students learn a new language, develop skills to understand ancient concepts, and express their understanding of our traditional text through their modern reading. We welcome a young person into our community as a fully capable adult thinker when they take on the mantle of being our community's teacher for a day. Rabbi and philosopher Abraham Joshua Heschel captured the essence of the power and impact of teachers, especially those of young children, when he said, "What we need more than anything else isn't textbooks. We need text people." It is the personality of the teacher, which is the text that students read, the text that they'll never forget. Our community benefits from so many amazing teachers. We saw them at the second Aliyah. If I would name one of them, I'd have to name all of them, and that's an impossible task, but you know who you are. Our CBB teachers are text people as much as they are teachers of text. They are kind, thoughtful, caring, devoted, and inspiring individuals who wear Torah on their sleeves as much as they teach it. This is in line with the expectations we have for our students. We don't want them to just know what Judaism says about being a good person. We want them to live lives worth learning from. My mom was a public school teacher for more than 20 years. I smile thinking about the hundreds of students whose lives she impacted. Even though she's now retired, she still gets excited when she hears updates from her former students celebrating a milestone like graduating from high school or even receiving a doctorate. She was part of the fabric of their lives for just a year. But when they reflect on their learning journey in that moment and they remember her, any teacher will say, nothing is more precious. I ask you to ponder, what teacher in your life would be most moved by receiving a letter or an email from you? If you still can, reach out to them. Tell them of their impact on your life, where you are now thanks to them. What greater gift can you offer someone than giving them the legacy of their impact? To that effect, with the rest of my time this morning, I'd like to share with you one additional letter I've written to another teacher of mine. This teacher has shaped my life in so many ways, and I would truly not be here with you today if not for him. Dear Rabbi Cohen, as I reflected on the approaching High Holy Days, I found myself repeatedly returning in my thoughts to you, my senior rabbi, who at the end of this year will be retiring. When I first came here to be your assistant rabbi, you described me as an ezer kenegdo, using the phrase attributed to Eve's role in Adam's life in our creation story. What you implied was that I was more than just a helper. To you, I would be a partner to strive with, someone to be face to face in strong, life-giving partnership. Like the chevrutot of the rabbinic age, we would sharpen our Torah against each other. It was a major task to live up to. And from that partnership, I have learned so much. You have taught me to show up, even when not requested, for someone in need. You taught me to slow down my reactions, to prioritize my time, thought, and energy to best serve the community. And you taught me to know when an idea is spent and I need to let it go. You are the epitome of the word Rav, teacher, in your words and in your deeds. There is nothing I can write that will truly express the impact you have had on this community and beyond. But I hope that this letter can begin to list the many ways you have been a teacher to all of us. You have taught us how to live a fully embodied Jewish life. Through your 7 circles of Judaism, you have created a framework by which we can see every aspect of our living as a Jewish act. You have taught us how to connect deeply with prayer. You created our current prayer book, Mashiv Haruach, filling it with ornate translations of our sacred words that move us deeply. In your prayer classes, you offer yourself as an example of how a person comes into a place of kavanah. And with our youth, you show that even while learning, we can still pray with a full heart. You have taught us that tradition is sometimes meant to be broken. When you led our synagogue renewal project, you removed the pews, which allowed us to be flexible in our space. You took the old model of Jewish education for children and turned it around, made it more like camp than the religious schools that we and our parents and their parents experienced and rebelled against. You have taught us how to engage with Israel in every dimension of its complexity. You embody Ahavat Yisrael, a love of Israel and its people. And simultaneously, you wrestle and thus teach us to wrestle with many things that concern us. Our connections with United, formerly Givat Chaviva, and Kfar Aza are as a result of your commitment toward a peaceful and connected future in Israel. Similarly, you have taught us how to unite as a Jewish community. After October 7th, you brought the Jewish organizations of Santa Barbara together for the sake of being one Jewish people. And these groups, which had never come together in such a way, all came to the table because they trusted you to be all of our teacher. You have taught us how to realize our mistakes and make amends. I don't know of any rabbi who has apologized publicly in a Yom Kippur sermon for words said that hurt members of the community, but you did. I'm not going to look at you anymore. You have taught us how to communicate with people we disagree with. Your tireless efforts with Braver Angels, Living Room Conversation Series, the nonviolent communication workshops, all spearheaded by you, held this community together in moments of our greatest divisions. You have taught us how to imagine a Jewish vision of a better world beyond our walls. Hundreds of children in Rwanda have better lives because of your commitment to the Ubumwe House of the Children's School. Soldiers and civilians in Israel were better protected during this war because of you. Yeah, other people came forward with the project, but you inspired the community to get behind them. You taught us to be good partners in faith, how to work with other faith groups toward a more perfect future, and in particular, our Muslim community. After the shooting in Christchurch, you led us to the mosque to join in their Jum'ah prayers. And after October 7th, you modeled outreach that most people could not believe, sending a letter to the Islamic Society of Santa Barbara in love. The same center that you helped the city see was necessary to permit. You have been a teacher of comfort. You held us, all of us, as we coped with the trauma of the Thomas Fire and the Montecito mudslide. You helped us maintain human connections during the separation of COVID. Your calm and consistent message, "We will get through this," really did get us through this. And still today, you teach us how to care for our parents, love our children and grandchildren, how to cherish a relationship, and how to be kind to ourselves and our souls. This year, 5785, is a year of celebrating you as our Rav, as our teacher. There are so many ways we're going to be able to do this. Mark your calendars now. May 2nd to 4th, as the weekend of grand celebration of Rabbi Cohen's decades of service, not just to CBB, but to the entire Santa Barbara Jewish community. But in the meantime, there are still meaningful ways to offer kavod, honor, to Rabbi Cohen in this final year. For starters, come to Torah study, even if you don't normally go. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Rabbi Cohen is one of the great Torah teachers of this country. To learn Torah with him is an act of intellectual mining for gems. Who knows what precious stones you'll walk away with? Show up on a Friday night service and be present with him. And when he gives a sermon, email him your thoughts. He really likes that. We will be creating a digital tribute board that can receive photos, videos, and written tributes. We hope to fill this digital board with hundreds of stories and memories of Rabbi Cohen's impact in all of our lives. All of this and more is coming. Please, please be a part of the celebration of our teacher. Steve, if I may, you taught us that every story counts. We are part of the human family. We can build dreams. This community exists today as a manifestation of your wisdom. Even after you retire, we will all continue to wonder and argue and celebrate your teachings, for they are our life and the length of our days. Loving teacher of this community, we thank you.
I thought we decided we weren't going to clap in Shul. Thank you so much, Rabbi Brenner. What can I possibly say? And I'm not going to try. I was sitting there holding back tears, as Marcy, I'm sure, was aware. But we have a service to conclude somehow, and we're going to do that right now. If I can find my paperwork. Is there shofar service?